This is a perfect representation of how no Christian who claimed themselves to be Christian today could have actually ever studied the history and the politics of Christianity. Also, how no Christian today can claim that they have any inkling of an idea of what the Christianity of Jesus would have been about, beyond the as far as a historical being. You see, to give you a slight history lesson on Christianity, all forms of Christianity today, every last one of them, derive from the Catholic Church. Derived from the Catholic Church. There's no way around it. There's no way to look at it any differently. Some people may come and say that, well, the Abyssinian Church, who created had their canon in 301, were separate from the Catholic Church, but that is absolutely not true. The orthodoxy of them are still based on what was being taught in Rome during that time frame, or the orthodoxy. They just happen to be the orthodoxy in Abyssinia. There are others, especially black people, who will claim that the Ethiopian Church. But the Ethiopian Orthodoxy was taught to them by the Coptic Church out of Alexandria, Egypt, which is part of the Catholic Church, would become part of the Catholic Church. They didn't have their canon until 330. The only reason their canon is different from the canon that wind up being in the Bible is because the Catholic canon was not established until 369. But out of the Coptic Church in Egypt, Athanasius was publishing what he thought should be the canon, and since that is the church that taught Ethiopia Christianity, is still based on Catholic teachings. Now, every other church there after the Catholic Church has derived itself by having slight differences in the thought process of what Christianity is supposed to be about. And most of it didn't come about until after the Renaissance era, the Protestant Reformation. So during the Protestant Reformation and Protestantism, this is why many of these listed fall under Protestantism, you begin to have a difference because, oh, we believe that you should be submerged instead of being sprinkled with water, and therefore Baptists. There's a methodology to teaching the Bible, so therefore Methodists. If you don't speak in tongue and have the gift of tongue, then and be filled with the Spirit in such a way, you are not Christian, therefore Pentecostal. Jehovah Witness, Jesus was not the Son, but made by God as a different being, but came as a great prophet, salvation, and Jehovah is who we're supposed to worship, and the Sabbath is on Friday night to Saturday night. Jehovah Witness, Seventh-day Adventists. Seventh-day Adventists believe in Jesus, though. So they can't be Jehovah Witness, but Seventh-day Adventists. So you see how there are different themes that occurred, things that people honed in on that began to create these different denominations of Christianity, but all of them derive their primary teachings from the Catholics. So where did the Catholics get it from? Well, the Catholics, being an orthodoxy, derived their version of Christianity by taking a Hellenistic viewpoint of Christianity, which would have been different from anything that was actually taught in first century. The first century Christians would have had scrolls and writings. They had scrolls and writings, not would have had scrolls and writings that weren't so much Paulinian in their concepts, in their thought process. You see, Paul's writing were more favorable to the Hellenistic Romans because it said that you didn't have to practice the Jewish law. You didn't have to keep the Jewish traditions. You didn't have to keep the Jewish high holidays. But you didn't have, so things like circumcision, you didn't have to be circumcised according to Paulinian Christianity. And all you had to do was just believe. And that Hellenistic viewpoint is what created the Catholic Church. You see, the more Jewish viewpoint, if there was a Peter, if there was a Matthew, then, and remember, Luke was a disciple of Paul, most likely, or a disciple of Peter, but I think most scholars say he was a disciple of Paul. I may be getting that part wrong, but the Matthew and Mark are certainly more Jewish in nature and writing than the writings of John and Luke, and definitely more so than Paul. So their writings were not as beneficial to the Catholic Church, to the Hellenistic Romans. So therefore, those writings didn't necessarily fit. Those writings would have had you still having to to com, to keep all the commandments, and keeping all the commandments wasn't something that the Romans wanted to do. You see, the Roman mentality said that we can't bow down our mindset and become like the ones we are conquered, that we have conquered in Judea, because we are Romans. We're prideful. They respected Greek, the Hellenistic viewpoint, because of their antiquity. But as far as the people of Judea, no, they're not respectable. So therefore, we can't go that route. We can't benefit from that and maintain our Roman pride. So all Christianity today has derived from the Catholic thought process, the prideful thought process, not from what would have been if a historical Jesus was walking around preaching a new message to the Jewish people. That is not the message. That is not the teachings that Christians align themselves with today. If anything, they would be more Gnostic in their viewpoint. Arius would have won at the Council of Nicaea, and Christians today would be more Gnostic in recognizing that it is within themselves that they find divinity, that they find salvation. It is within themselves that they achieve godhood, and not outside of themselves, not through sacrifice, and definitely not through a human sacrifice. But Christians will be more Gnostic if a truer form of Christianity was being followed. And this was one of the things that helped me to deconstruct from Christianity, is just the realization that most of what people are believing is a Roman viewpoint of a Judaite situation, a Judaite religion. And it's just the same way as you could say the viewpoint of Christians when they came and approached indigenous people, and whether we're talking about in Africa or India or the Americas, their viewpoint was to supersede whoever they were conquering, and that's how they were. So, give an example. When it came to the Yoruba tribe, the Yoruba said they said we have one true God. The Yoruba said, oh, so do we, Oshun. Oh, but and our one true God have angels. Oh, Oshun has angels. You know, we just call them the Orishas. You know, and what we talking about, Shango and Eshu. And they did the same thing with the Brahmins. Oh, we have one true God. We do too. His name is Brahma. Do we have angels? Oh yeah, he got angels too. You know, they're the different deity, Lameshk and all them. Oh, and we have Jesus. Oh, and we got Krishna. So they said, but ours is the one true one. Yours is the polytheistic worshiping of all these different gods, and so you're not really worshiping a one true God. And they tricked these people into believing that. And still today, Brahmins believe that they are worshiping multiple gods. Those who don't understand what the Brahmin religion truly is. The people who practice Ifa, some of them believe that they are, some, not all, not most, believe that they're worshiping all these other deities when really it's just Oshun to whom they look at, or Chechua. But not realizing that they are venerating their ancestors in the same way that the Christians venerated their ancestors and their angels. So, but they let their mindset, their European Roman mindset, change how they think. And that is what Christians do today. They think that they're doing something different from the Catholic Church and abhor the Catholic Church, but yet the primary teachings, your book, your canonization, all those things come from the Catholic Church. Your interpolations, your doctrines come from the Catholic Church for the most part. So all you Christians are just Catholic. But that's what's helped me to walk away from this whole religion, is understanding all these politics and maneuverings and cultural biases and things of that nature. When you do that, you can't help but to walk away from it. So what do you guys think? Comment, like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.